Hey y'all, I'm Stacy.
And I'm Tom with RV Texas, y'all.
Welcome back. Today we're at another great Texas state park. This time we're up in the beautiful Texas Panhandle at Copper Breaks State Park. We were really excited to come to this park. It's our first time here. It has so much to offer. It has history. This was once Indian territory. It has geology. This is where you can see the copper breaks. I mean, that's what it's named for, and we'll show you more of that.
It has the dark skies.
This is an international dark sky park, one of only 70 or 71 in the world, I think.
Yeah, and how about that cowboy coffee?
Holy cow, we had some fantastic cowboy coffee and cast iron donuts while we were here. And where else can you go to kiss a Texas Longhorn?
So stick around while we show you around Copper Breaks State Park.
Copper Breaks State Park is in northern Texas, lower Panhandle. It's about 90 miles west of Wichita Falls, about 160 miles from either Lubbock or Amarillo. It sits along the Pease River and includes Lake Copper Breaks. It's smack dab between Quanah and Crowell, basically. It's 1,899 acres here in the park. This is the headquarters. State purchased the land in 1970 and it officially opened as a park to the public in 1974. One of our favorite things about Copper Breaks State Park is the history, and it hits you right away in this headquarters with this awesome museum. This is a chuck wagon. The chuck wagon is credited to Charles Goodnight, who was a rancher in the area. In 1866, he decided to bring home an Army surplus wagon with some extra heavy axles. He loaded it up with food and bedrolls for 10 men, 2-day supply of water, all the things a normal chuck wagon would have in the day, but he came up with the idea of putting the fold-down workstation in the back, and that is what led to the big chuck wagons that came a little after that. This was bison territory, which of course were important for the Indians, and that brought the Comanche and Kiowa tribes to this area. They came because of the Pease River water supply, the bison, and also nearby the area called Medicine Mounds, which they believed were the home of healing spirits. Now, a couple weeks ago, we published a video about Fort Parker State Park, and that state park is near Old Fort Parker, which in 1836 was raided by the Comanche Indians. Among other things, they abducted 9-year-old Cynthia Ann Parker. She grew up amongst the Comanche. She went on to marry a great warrior and have 3 children, including Quanah Parker, who we'll talk more about later. Cynthia Ann was recaptured by the Texas Rangers near here on the Pease River in 1860.
The Comanche Indians, I love this. They were phenomenal horsemen. They not only could do the horse, but when they were shooting the bow and arrow, they could shoot it underneath the horse while staying on the horse with dead accuracy. It was pretty awesome.
Amazing. The next thing that really impressed us about Copper Breaks State Park were the ranger programs. This has got to be one of the most active ranger programs at any state park we've been to. Everything from geocaching, museum tours, archery, sky programs, cowboy coffee and donuts that you're seeing here.
They were good too.
Wildlife programs, mountain biking, fishing, night creatures, hiking, and the mighty Texas Longhorns. I mean, and that's all just going on in the few days we were there. Just unbelievable the amount of time and care that they put into these programs.
Yeah, this was one of their volunteers, and he was so knowledgeable. He was awesome.
Oh my gosh, yes. Great guy. And let's talk about the Longhorns.
Woo!
Do it a little higher.
He's going on.
He has other ideas, doesn't he?
You did it.
I did it. Like Texas itself, these Texas Longhorns are tough. They can survive where other cattle can't, and they can eat things like a prickly pear. After the Civil War, when Texas was struggling financially, Cowboys herded over 10 million longhorn cattle up to Kansas City, and the Texas cattle industry was born.
Well, today we're going to start the day off with a nice hike.
Yeah, we're excited. We heard great things about the Juniper Ridge Nature Trail. Our neighbors that had been camping next to us came out and did it the other day, and they said it was a nice little trail. You know, a little bit of scrambling every so often.
Yeah.
So I kind of have a feeling it's going to be similar to what we saw in Garner State Park.
Yeah.
So we're excited to check it out, and I'm trying out my new hat that my mom sent me. It's supposed to reflect the heat. So we're gonna see if it works.
She's got that one on, I've got the old one on. We'll kind of compare notes when we get done. So let's go along.
Let's go check out Juniper Ridge. And this is, you know, one of the nature trails where they, every so often, you find a write-up that gives you information about what you're looking at. I love those. We learn so much.
This is a skunk bush sumac, and it when you rub these together, it's a real pungent smell. And they actually, I guess at some times of the year, it emits a fruit that you make like a
lemonade, like
some kind of lemonade drink. Never seen this before, and it also puts out a flower during another time of the year. So yeah, just another one of the unique plants for this area. One I've never even heard of. There's a lot of them I've never heard of.
Wow. This is why we love to explore, because you never know what you're going to find. Here we are at the base of the Texas Panhandle. You can see it's very arid and dry these days, but this was once covered by a sea, the Permian Sea, and it left behind these ripples in the sandstone. This is a very unique geological feature. They said probably the most unique geological feature of this park. Look at this. To think that this was once covered by water.
How many years ago?
Millions of years ago.
Yeah.
And it's left something for us to remember that by. I mean, that's incredible.
Yes, it is.
And the fact that they're sandstone, now in my mind, I'm not a geologist, but in my mind, sandstone would be soft. But clearly, this has survived a very long time. That is really cool. See the greenish blue? They said that's what you look for to know where the copper is.
The greenish blue color.
Yeah, see on the side of the rocks there?
Wow. So this is the half point of the trail. So they give you a little bench to sit on,
Little shade structure.
and it tells you just reflect on what you've seen in the first half of the trail. And it is really awesome.
The Juniper Ridge Trail, I think, is what we're on, and yeah, I mean,
Must do.
Oh, for sure.
If you can get around a little bit, this is a must do.
It's not extremely difficult.
No.
What we did in Garner, some of those trails were definitely more difficult.
Yes.
I say that halfway through. But yeah, you do need to be, solid on your feet, I'd say, and there is a little bit of stepping up and stepping down. But wow, I mean, and there's a nice breeze out here.
Yeah, so I'm just going to turn the camera around and show you exactly what we're looking at. This is all the same trail, believe it or not.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wish we had smell-o-vision because these trees right here are a form of a cedar tree, also I guess called a juniper, a juniper tree, and they smell almost like a Christmas tree. I mean, it really smells cool.
But if you have cedar allergies, you don't want to rush through here.
Yeah, exactly.
This smells awesome.
Yep, this is the fishing pier down by the, what I guess I'd call the dam. I think that's the dam over there. And it's kind of down the road from the swimming area. There's a swimming area that's down this way.
And there's also tent camping. There's also tent camping back down this way.
Right.
And the day use area is over here, so easy to get to.
And then this is right across the way from the
Juniper Ridge
hiking trail that we just got off of. That is a must. It was awesome.
There's parking for it right at the trailhead.
Yep, and you can just drive down to the trailhead, park, and go up the Juniper Trail. Or you can park over there and come fishing right here.
So yeah, we just had a great meal at the Medicine Mound Depot restaurant here in Quanah.
And we met Billy, the owner, and let me tell you what's really, really cool is talking about a small business. There's about 20 employees that work at this restaurant. 15 of them or so are family.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I mean,
his mom, his mother-in-law, their kids, aunts.
His wife, I mean.
Awesome.
It really is awesome. Truly a family place. And you know, if you're in this town, and we learned that this is 2 different train depots.
Yeah, so this half behind us here is the Medicine Mound Depot from nearby Medicine Mound, which was a town about 6 miles to the east. On the other end of the restaurant, where we actually ate, is the Chillicothe Depot from another town a little further away. And they was brought here back in the 80s, I think he said. The Medicine Mound Depot had already been moved here. The Chillicothe Depot was brought together, the 2 were put together and made into a restaurant. So pretty cool. So at lunch today, Billy told us about the old county jail and the county depot, a train depot, which are both now museums. And so we came over to find where they are here in Quanah, and we missed them. They're already closed for the day, but we're going to try to come back before we leave town. This is the old county jail. They started building this. This is the Hardeman County Jail. They started building it in 1890. It was completed in 1891, and it served as the county jail until 1964. They said the sheriff lived downstairs, and his office was downstairs, and then the prisoners were held upstairs.
And also something I find very cool here, in front of the jail here has got to be some of the original streets that were built in this town, and they were built with brick. Look at these, they're cool.
Yeah, we definitely need to come back and explore the jail and the Depot Museum. And there's a neat old bridge. I don't know if you can see it right over here. It looks like it was removed from its location right behind there. So when you're driving around Texas and you see, especially up in the Panhandle, and you see one of these giant arrows, this is a Quanah Parker arrow. Quanah Parker was the last great Comanche chief, and this was the area that he lived in, and he's well known in these parts. There's a ton of Quanah Parker stories. And this actually is the town of Quanah, so it makes sense that you would find Quanah Parker arrows. There's a plaque right here that said he blessed the town of Quanah in 1890. So I thought maybe this is arrow number 1. No, the arrows actually have numbers on them. This is arrow number 3. So every arrow that you find like this represents something happened there related to Quanah Parker. In this case, it was Quanah Parker came here to bless the town of Quanah, his namesake, in 1890. So I do not miss when you're in Quanah, Texas, is the Hardeman County Museum. It's here in the Quanah, Texas old train depot and in the jail that's just behind it that we showed you. It is absolutely fantastic, runs on donations, and it was the curator when we visited was a former elementary school teacher from the area who was so helpful and knew so much about the local history.
Very passionate.
Oh, it was fantastic. They have 2 floors and multiple rooms, tons of information about the county, military history, train history, and of course Quanah Parker history and Indian history here. To tell you a little bit more about Quanah Parker, he was among the warriors that were defeated by the soldiers from Fort Richardson from last week's video at the Battle of Palo Duro, and he became an advocate for his people when they were forced onto reservation life at Fort Sill in Oklahoma in 1875. So welcome to our campsite here at Copper Break State Park. We have site number 14, which is in the Comanche camping loop, and that is really the RV loop here in the park. All the sites have 30 and 50 amp and water, and then there's a dump station right next to the restroom that's inside the camping loop. So very convenient. Really well maintained. They've got, we'll show you around the back. They're good size. They've got shade structures on over all the picnic tables. You have a lantern ring and a fire pit and a barbecue grill. Plenty of space to stretch out. The one thing I would say, we're here in June and it's getting a bit warm. It's been in the upper 90s most of the time we've been here during the day. And we are, site number 14 faces northwest, and that's a tough way to face for the afternoon sun. When you have a motorhome, all that sun coming in the front windshield really makes it tough for the ACs to keep up and keep it cooled down. Now it feels nice in the shade, so we've been spending more time outside and in the shade. But just something to keep in mind. Had we thought about it when we got here, we could have pulled in nose front, been looking at this out of our front windshield and just run our power and water underneath the RV. So, but it's a loop, they face all different directions. Someone asked me earlier about the chance of bigger RVs fitting in this park. The sites for the most part aren't that big, they're all back in. However, there are a lot of them that you don't have anything across from you, so maneuvering to back in is pretty simple here for the most part. And we did have a 3-axle toy hauler fifth wheel parked next to us for a couple nights. And she got it in there, no big deal. The nice thing is, if you can overhang your tail over the grass, it buys you some extra room. But I'd say if you have a bigger rig, it is possible, but call the office and talk to them about what sites might be right for you. But it's been super nice. This park is really quiet. It is not on a busy highway, which is nice. You're about 15 to 20 minutes from the town of Quanah, which has a grocery store and a restaurant and a museum and gas stations. There's even a Love's travel stop there. But you can see this is our shade structure. Now we had a couple nights where storms came through and we got some rain. So we just were able to put all of our chairs and stuff up under our shade structure, which was awesome.
shaped like a teepee.
Yeah, very cool. This was Indian territory, so at one time. So that architecture I feel like is pretty fitting. Another thing, the bathrooms here are really clean, very nice. Everybody we've talked to has commented about how clean the restrooms are and how clean the showers are. So, and they're very conveniently located right here within the Comanche camping loop, so easy to get to. This site number 13, was the site that big triple axle fifth wheel was in for a couple nights. They just pulled out this morning.
Hey guys, behind us you're going to see a vintage bus.
That is a 1960 Greyhound bus that has been converted into an RV, and they were neighbors of ours. We got to meet Ken, Donna, and Jared. Hey guys!
Hey guys!
Great neighbors, great folks, and what an amazing bus.
Yeah.
I love running into stuff like that.
Yeah, take a look at this.
Yet another unique feature of Copper Break State Park. Y'all, it is not unusual to see equestrian camping areas in Texas state parks, but this equestrian camping area was pretty darn interesting and phenomenal.
Yeah, you tie up your horse just like you would back in the old days.
Right here on a string line, and non-equestrians can camp up here as well. Some of the views from the campsites were amazing.
Yeah, they were. They were some of the best views from campsites around.
Now, we mentioned that Copper Breaks is an international dark sky park, and that means that they go out of their way to protect the dark starry nights. And right now there are only 5 parks that meet those criteria in Texas.
Yeah, we're showing the area here where they set up the telescopes and stuff for day or night viewing.
Very cool that they have that, and parking right across this bridge, very convenient. So we hope you enjoyed this visit to Copper Break State Park in the beautiful Texas Panhandle. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you'll be along for more adventures. Lots of great stuff coming up. Until next time, y'all, safe travels and happy camping. Bye.